Welcome to the Houston Hustle, the podcast that spotlights the movers, the makers, and the doers shaping the city we love. Each week, we sit down with Houston's top entrepreneurs to talk who they are, how they built it, the principles that drive them, and what success means beyond the highlight reel. This is Real Hustle, Real Stories, Real Houston. Welcome to Houston Hustle. I'm Dr. Paige Ward.
I'm Dr. Charlie Ward.
And today we have our guest, David Feldman, with Feldman Lee Trial Attorneys. So that works, right?
That works, yeah.
Okay, so tell us about who you are, what you do.
So I'm David Feldman. I'm the Feldman of Feldman Lee. So we are personal injury trial lawyers. We've been in business for, I think we just celebrated our 11th year.
Very cool.
And so we do anything from, 18-wheeler accidents, slip and falls, work-related incidents down to like fender bender car wrecks. So, and which is like 98% of the practice, but then the 2% is reserved for, I've got a family that for whatever reason don't know how to follow the law. And I'll get the phone call in the middle of the night. Hey man, dude, don't tell my mom, but man, I got picked up and have to go bail them out in the middle of the night. So that 2%.
So that's the 2%.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, good.
So,
Is that on the website? 2%?
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, that's just kind of what we do.
Okay, so what got you started in this?
So, to make a short story long, I clerked for a law firm when I was in college. My mom was a paralegal.
Okay.
And so those attorneys that she worked for were really, just outstanding, great guys. And they did just general civil stuff. And so a couple of times when I was there, they kind of went above and beyond for their clients. They didn't expect any money. They just wanted to do it because it was the right thing to do. And so that kind of piqued my interest in that'd be pretty cool as a career. So that's kind of how we got into it, or I got into it. But whenever I graduated from law school, the first law firm that I worked for was the very high-end white collar type family law up in Dallas. And it was great because I got to meet a lot of professional athletes, people in the media. Couldn't talk about it because of client confidentiality, so I couldn't really tell my buddies about it. Even though I had autographs I could sell on eBay. But there was one specific case where it just soured me on it. I don't want to do this. And so I started thinking back to the guys that my mom worked for. It's personal injury, I think it'd be pretty cool. So gave it a shot and fell in love with it and been doing that ever since.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
And how did y'all start your law firm then? So
Jeremy and I met at a law firm here in town. We're in different departments. And so I was in the pre-litigation department because the firms I was working at were heavy litigation, kind of got burned out, needed a break, just kind of got married and kind of wanted to ease into all that. Jeremy was in the litigation department. And so those two departments, there's literally a demilitarized zone where you really couldn't talk to either department as to how they had it. And so Jeremy and I, his office was literally across the hall. And so when the partners would leave, we would kind of sort of talk and we got to be really good friends. A couple of times we were told we had to stop talking to each other. We would potentially be terminated.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it was super stupid. And so a couple of times when we were just having to leave together, walking out to the car at the end of the day, we'd start talking. It's man, we could do this. We could do it so much better than these guys. And so we moved on to different firms. We kept in touch, and finally, I think we called each other one day and said, "Hey man, why don't we meet at Little Woodrow's or something like that? Just draw everything up and really talk about it." And we did. And then I think about 6 months after that, we started. And this was late 23 or late 2013 or late 2014. Yeah.
Okay. Then it just came together.
Yeah.
How has your business changed since day one?
So we started out in a spare bedroom of my house.
Nice.
And it was just after Easter of 2014. So I guess it's been 12 years. And it was a shoestring budget. The firm I was at before, I'd gotten, a couple of big bonuses. And so we kind of used that as seed money. Room, it's literally about the size of this exam room. 2 desks, 2 chairs, 2 computers, and the whole thing. And, we we're on a shoestring budget,
Yeah.
to say the least, right?
Low overhead.
Yes. And even though it was getting hot in Houston, my wife said, y'all could do it. Like, we're not running the AC during the day. It's strictly for us. We'd turn off the cable. So we only had basically Maury Povich to watch during the day.
Oh my gosh.
It was peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. A good night was Totino's pizza. And so we like really just bit the bullet for about 6 months. Because in PI, when you sign up a case, it's not going to pay off for
Right.
6 to 9 months. And so before we actually officially started, Jeremy and I kind of started getting the game plan together, kind of the spiel, what we were going to do, how we were going to approach, chiropractors, how we were going to kind of pitch ourselves. And so we started doing that, I think 3 or 4 months before we actually started, taking Kairos lunch and all that stuff on literally the other firm's dime, which, they never found out. But and my paralegal at the time covered for me. She knew exactly what we were doing. But we did that. And so we had, I think, about a handful of cases signed up before we officially started. So right at the 6-month period where we literally were down to like the last couple $100, everything just started hitting, and we got everything deposited and had some money. And it was to the point, and no joking, Jeremy's wife was like, Jeremy, if you don't, you might have to like get a second child. You're like, cut this out. It's
That's
weird.
tough.
And so literally, I think it was like the next week we got our first check. So and so it was a lot of sleepless nights, but it was absolutely worth it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So today, what's it like? Still in that spare bedroom?
No. So we moved into like a one office, kind of like office share building in Midtown. We were there for, I think, 8 years. And then while we were there, we kind of started taking over more of the offices. So we kind of had basically the second floor in that building. We kind of like just started slowly growing. We kind of outgrew that space. And because it was like an office share, even though we had most of the offices on the second floor and there was a common area, I mean, there's like a real estate company. There's, I think, another, she did like counseling or something like that. So it truly wasn't our office space. And so we got new office space in the Tanglewood area, like the North Galleria area, right off 610 and Woodway, about 2.5 years ago. And it's a big, I like to think it's pretty nice office space. But it was, just literally sweat and tears and a lot of late nights, a lot of Sunday mornings getting us to that spot. We've never taken out a small business loan.
Wow.
We've never taken out a line of credit. I mean, everything, it's completely contrary.
So you really had to kind of go through that hustle time frame.
Yes. Well, I mean, we really haven't stopped doing that. It's gotten just different, I think, with the hustle, just different aspects of it now. Like we don't, when we're still in the house, we would have to meet everybody somewhere. So we'd have to go out, like what is it, Starbucks or like a restaurant, Sunday mornings, Saturday nights. I mean, I think the one night Jeremy and I met a potential client at like 10:30 at the Waffle House or
Nice.
like the Denny's or whatever it was.
Hey, whatever works.
Yeah.
They sign up after that?
Yes. Yeah. And the pancakes were great. So yeah, I did that. And so now, because ever since COVID, everyone does the Zoom and everything's kind of remote. We still sign clients up. I mean, I still meet with clients on Saturday mornings, some days if it's necessary, but now it's just, we're able to actually like go out, have lunch with, chiropractors, like, all kind of get to meet people more on more of a like personal level rather than just like on a business level to kind of cultivate relationships. And because we don't look for like one-off type relationships, we kind of want to like be, connected with the people we work with. And that's kind of how we've kind of evolved in the hustle.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So speaking of COVID, how did that affect you all?
So because we do personal injury, when the shutdown happened and you couldn't drive, the phone stopped ringing.
It's stressful.
And that was worse than when we first opened the firm. Because if you're not getting in wrecks, you're not getting hurt. You can't make an insurance claim. The insurance company can't fuck you over. And then now you you don't need a lawyer. And so that was stressful. I will say during that time, we had enough, I guess, of an inventory of cases to where, we could still facilitate making sure the staff was taken care of, bills were getting paid. We filed a bunch of lawsuits during that time to kind of keep the pipeline going. Come to find out, so we're members of the Texas Trial Lawyers Association. It's like all the lawyers around Texas that do plaintiff's personal injury. We're all on the listserv. One of them, if I remember correctly, looked up, I think it's like the administrative code or the government code, the insurance code, one of those, to where basically it said the insurance company in situations like COVID, they can't just keep the money.
Oh.
They still have to pay claims. And there's like a ratio within how many claims are out there, how much money they have in the bank. They can't just hoard it. So someone found that out. They blasted it on the listserv, and like all the lawsuits we filed, if I remember correctly, I filed 17 in like 2 weeks. And because we had nothing else to do, right?
Might as well.
And so out of those 17, 15 were like paid like policy owners within like a month.
That's amazing.
Because they had to like keep paying claims, even though they were getting the premiums every month. The claims process slowed to a crawl. They still had to like keep coming out. So once we found that out and we got that, we were good for that time.
Took some stress off of things.
A little bit, yeah. But then I will say I've never been so relieved than the day they lifted the stay or lifted the quarantine, and I was stuck in traffic.
You're like, this is good.
All right.
Other people.
Phone's going to start ringing. The phone's going to start ringing. And sure enough, yeah, it did. And it was, ever since then, it's been somewhat back to normal, like a new normal.
That's good.
Yeah.
Where do you envision your business going? Like, what's the goals?
So the goal right now is to just expand, which we're in the process of doing. We need, more legal staff, more lawyers. We try not to have quote unquote case managers, which they kind of evolve into that role. We're branching out into different geographical locations in Texas, like Odessa and Laredo right now. So that's going to keep us busy. So the ultimate goal is just to get it to a point where, I can just go out and like do podcasts or like, keep client relations going. Jeremy can, handle all the same thing and just like have staff just kind of run the day to day. That's ultimately the goal.
So you're branching out to like Odessa and stuff. Are you planning on setting up offices there, or are you just like reaching out to those areas?
Yeah. So I think next week, going to sign on an office space. We've already started getting the marketing, advertising done out there. We're going to do a little bit more than a handful of billboards and commercials and like social media, which, not to really dovetail on a different topic, I have always been against billboard lawyers.
There's so many.
I've always been against like commercials. But Jeremy and I have decided, even when we first started, if we're going to do billboards, if we're going to do commercials, we're not going to have a shtick. We're not going to swing hammers.
I was going to say, not the Texas hammer.
We're not going to have like a nickname.
Call Dick or whatever. Get
Dick.
He's got a billboard now that I looked at. It's like, I don't know, the guys in Austin that control that stuff approved it. It was like pretty profane.
Yeah, there's some
to the point like we're out having lunch with a car, and like our office manager Sandra was in the car with us, and I looked at it and I looked at Jeremy and was like, wanted to say something. It's like, man, we got Sandra in the car. I don't know. Like the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to literally say verbatim what's on the billboard, but I don't want
it sounds so bad
coming from us. Like, hey, Sandra, it's not me. It's that guy. But yeah, so we're still in the process of figuring out a way just to like be straightforward,
be authentic.
Yeah, down to earth. We've always tried to be your personal injury lawyer. So
I
Interesting.
like
yeah. So, but you have to say it to get it across. You can't really put that on a billboard because it's always lost in
Translation.
translation.
Yeah.
Yeah. We tried to do it. It's just like, yeah, you guys are personal injury lawyers.
Yeah.
Why is personal italicized? So
I think a lot of it comes across in your social media, though, like your presence there.
yeah.
It's funny. It's
Yeah.
personable. So
Yeah, we looked out again. I mean, the guy that does our social media, his name is Ray Lacani, and his wife Megan. They're just absolutely the best, and we just lucked out. I mean, really fell ass backwards into finding him. Um, and that's kind of a long story too. Once because we had a guy doing it, didn't work out, wasn't what we wanted. We were paying the guy barely nothing, and that's kind of what we were getting in return. Wasn't effective. Everything just looked like a PowerPoint presentation, regurgitated every week.
Oh yeah,
Different
looking at
versions.
these
Yeah.
ones when we first talked.
And it was just so frustrating to the point where I just kind of lost it on the guy. Uh, and then, as after that, it's like, well, I guess I need to find someone else. I haven't officially fired him yet, but and then just kind of got on social media, and like when you think your phone's not listening, it's listening because one of the very first ads I had served to me was our new guy. Like it was just weird. And so looked him up, called him, spoke to him, liked him. He was working for a company out of Tampa, Florida, but he actually lives here in Houston.
Oh, perfect.
So we it was just kismet. So
Meant to be. So are you're hiring more attorneys too then? How is it hard to like let go of those things? Like, do you feel like it's hard to trust other people with it?
I generally distrust people to begin with, only because, it's my name, it's Jeremy's name. They have this, like, trust has to be earned, but it's like a two-way street. I mean, you've got to trust me. I've got to trust you.
Right.
You know, I'm going to be completely open and honest with you. You've got to do the same, and we'll treat each other respectfully. That I don't truly have too much of a problem with because we can always control that.
Right.
The problem that we do have is, and I never thought I would be at an age where I would say this, but man, kids today, uh, they, it's hard just to get them to agree to, the basic principles of the job. You know, you have deadlines to meet, you have goals that we set forth that you need to, meet or get close to. I expect you to do the basic things like get here on time. If you got to work on a Saturday, you got to work on a Saturday because you're going to see me in the office on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Or you got to stay at least until 5, 6. You can't cut out at 3.
Yeah.
We've not our current associate. Our current associate now, she's really good. But we've had some that we've tried to, 20-hour weeks. What are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
and you still expect a raise at the end of the year? Come on, man. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So we've had that, and like just the entitlement of, we had them do like a basic hearing. It was on a pretty good case, but we let them do it because it was, you couldn't lose.
Right.
It's like one of those. We just let them, like, get on the courthouse, you argue it, everything's going to be fine. We already know what's going to happen. And he came back, and, next week he was like, yeah, I kind of, I think I probably need like an assistant. Like,
What?
so 2 weeks later, he was, all right, see ya. Good luck. And then go get that assistant, man. Good luck to you.
Okay.
Maybe that other firm will pay for it, but you got to cut your teeth here on your own. So,
Yeah. I've heard a lot about that, in the hiring world right now, just because like you were telling us just a little bit ago about how you went through this long hustle phase where you had to put your finances, your life, kind of like your lifestyle on the line. And then you step in and they're like, I want this really great salary. I want lots of vacation. I don't want to work very much.
I will say, so one of my very first jobs when I was licensed, I was a clerk for the firm. I was making $15 an hour. As soon as I got licensed and they hired me as a full-time lawyer, they turned that $15 an hour salary or an hour pay into salary, which equated to $28,800. And that's what I was getting paid as a licensed lawyer.
Yeah.
Of course, this was in like 04,
But still.
but you know, it was $900 every 2 weeks, and I couldn't make it. And so finally, and this was up at Dallas, and when I came back to Houston, the firm that I was working for, it was much better. It was very competitive, but the guys that I worked for, I mean, they were great guys. They gave me a bunch of responsibility. I was in the office literally for like the first year, 7 days a week. I got there early, left late, you know, tried to do as much as I could. I asked for extra stuff. I wanted to go argue these motions, wanted to go try these cases. They let me do as much as I, could. You know, I shadowed them in trial, some really big cases, set like second, third chair, and got the experience that way. But never once did I say, "Hey, look, I think I deserve a raise."
Right.
I just kind of let them talk.
Your work ethic and everything show for it.
Yeah. So because I will tell you that firm, it was Vasquez Salins, and they broke up while we were still there. But I told them in the interview, because they asked me, like, what are your ultimate goals? And I told them, like, I'm not going to work for you forever. I want my name on the door somewhere, whether it's here, that's great. It won't be, because I know you guys work, but somewhere my name's going to be on the door. So I'm not going to be around forever, but I want to work here as long as I can to learn what I can so I can do this on my own. And they told me that's what got me the job.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Just earn that respect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just like no bullshit. I think I even told them, like, look, I'm not going to like tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you. And like it, that's great. If not, I got other interviews, maybe they'll work out there. So probably wouldn't do that today. Yeah, but it worked. So it was meant to be.
It was.
We've had some hiring nightmares too. We went through like 3 weeks of interviews with one girl. We hired her. She showed up, and at lunchtime, she just cut out. Didn't even say.
Didn't say anything. Just sent out.
Yeah, she's just gone.
Never came back. Yeah.
With staff, it's a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
Attorneys, it's hit or miss, but we've had some that, I think the record was like 2.5 days she lasted after a week of training, and when she was left on her own. Long story short, just I didn't do a background check. The staff was telling us some things about her, and I was like, look, she's got to go. And so we just fired her. And like, I was, thinking it was going to be like a big dramatic firing. She's like, okay, thanks. Here's the cord.
Bye.
So it
ended up being pretty easy.
Yeah. Because whenever we hired her, like, she came from a firm, I know the guys that worked over there, or one of the associates, or knew him at the time. And so when she mentioned his name, I just assumed, all right, well, then she's good.
Right.
She'd answer all the questions. I was really trying to like stump her, and like I couldn't, just on stuff that she would need to know. And so when I asked her, like, hey, when can you start? I was like, well, I can start Monday, and this is like a Thursday.
Right.
I was like, you don't need to give 2 weeks notice. Like, well, I have all this vacation saved up, so I can just like call in the vacation for 2 weeks, and then like that'll be fine. It's like, that's between you and
right.
But if you can start Monday, start Monday. So our office manager trained her, because she was going to be out for a few months. And so she said, yeah, she'll be fine. I wouldn't give her access to like the financials yet. Just like, let her kind of get used to everything. And then that Friday, when we made it official, we took everyone out to lunch so she could kind of get to know everybody. She made a big deal about she doesn't drink anymore. It's like, oh, cool. Good for you. Didn't think anything of it. But she kind of made it a kind of big production. I was like, that's kind of weird. And like, no one, if you don't drink, you don't drink, no big deal.
Right. You just say no. And
yeah. And so that following Monday, one of the days, she started asking about the security cameras in the building.
What?
They're recording, who watches them, because there just happened to be one just over her desk watching her. So she was just kind of asking us questions like, I mean, that's pretty odd.
So now you're like, I got to go back to these camps.
So Jim's like, all right, man, well, you call the firm that she came from and I'll do the background check. And so I called the firms like, oh yeah, I mean, we fired her, months ago for like poor job performance. So like, oh, so she's not currently employed, and like, now we haven't heard from her in months. Like, okay. So as soon as I got off the phone, Jimmy walks in, I was like, hey, you might want to know that it's not that she quit drinking. The court told her she probably shouldn't drink for 2 years because she was on like her third DWI. And so I was like, all right, man, well, now she's lying to us, so she's got to go. And so the next day we went to meet with a Cairo out in Conroe. And so we knew we were going to be gone for like 3 or 4 hours. So the only time in the history of the firm, I changed the code to my door. I locked my desk. I took the computers and everything that had of any value you could sneak out, locked them, hid them. And as we're coming back, she was looking out the window at the door, and we're coming in, and she looks at us, and she just like hightails it back upstairs, like pretends like she's working. She always had to take these phone calls to, for whatever reason. Well, she says she didn't smoke, but like she did. And like, it was so bad with the perfume trying to cover it up. She sat in the other end of the building than I did. And I had to close my door.
Oh,
It was so bad. I was like, dude, she's gotta go. And so we called her in. She had it. And then the other thing was she carpooled, thinking, trying to save the environment.
so environmentally friendly.
Yeah. And they come to find out, like, the court also told her, besides drinking, you probably shouldn't drive. So it was her mother that was picking her up and dropping her off from the office. So we waited until she was about to leave and called her in and told her, and like, so she couldn't make a big deal. But that was, yeah, all in the span of less than 72 hours.
Fun
Yeah,
times.
it was great.
One of the
good.
joys of being a business owner.
It was absolutely fantastic. Would not recommend.
Any wild cases or crazy situations where people wanted to be
Yeah,
represented?
because in personal injury, I know you get some crazy sometimes. Have you had any crazy scenarios?
Yes. So we had, and there's two. One of them is really the female law firm I worked at. But for Jeremy and I, one of the ones that sticks out, there was a guy that said the settlement wasn't enough. What we were going to give him wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking to him over the phone. He comes into the office, wants to see the file, which that's fine. Hey,
Right.
look, we'll show you everything. We haven't denied. Going, through the file page by page. This is why they're only offering you this, X, Y, Z. He goes, well, let me just sit alone and pray about it for a little bit. It's like, whatever you got to do, bud. And so we walked out, and it just so happened that on this file with the insurance company, I had known this one adjuster for a few years, had a really good working relationship with her. Probably 30 minutes later, she's calling about this client saying, hey, look, this client just called us and said he fired you guys. Are y'all going to retain an interest? And like, what are you talking about? He's in the office downstairs. Like, well, sounded like he was calling from his car. So we rushed down, and sure enough, the file was there. He had ripped out of the file the contact information for the adjuster.
Oh, no.
Tried to cut us out of it. So that's one that sticks out. But when I was working for one of the family law firms in Dallas, a really good friend of mine, even to this day, he was the best man at my wedding. His name is Brian Abercrombie. He's like a badass family lawyer, and he's down here now in Spring and the Woods. But we worked on a case, and I, just gotten licensed. We're kind of tag teaming it. It was, I don't know why I remember this, but there were 13 issues that were in dispute. We represented the mom. This other guy represented the dad, and there's a kid involved, and he was like in 9th grade at the time. And this is like back in 2005, I think. This was the very first trial. Brian was like his second or third. So we really was kind of like cavalier about a lot of stuff. And so we had always assumed, and we'd always, not really assumed, we'd always heard that the dad was involved in Dallas organized crime. And he ran like a banquet hall, like a reception hall, all that stuff. And it was like a alcoholic catch business. So pinning him down on like what the child support was and what he should pay was pretty difficult to do. And so a mutual friend of ours, who is also another lawyer in town, it's like, yeah, he's, bad news, blah, blah, blah. It's like, come on, do this, Dallas. I mean, organized crime in Dallas can be a break. So the Friday, we started trial on a Monday. That Friday before, literally one of the first things in the morning, his attorney couriers over to our office 4 years of financials that he wanted to produce in trial.
4 years?
Yeah,
The
3
Friday
years.
before?
Yeah. And so, like, literally the actual, like, handwritten canceled checks, the whole thing. So me being the, go get them, junior lawyer, first trial, like, hadn't been jaded yet. I spent literally, and when I say literally, the entire weekend reconciling 4 years of financials. So basically it turned out, and we figured out when he wanted to buy the fancy stuff like the house, the boat, the car, whatever, he had the money for it. He filled out federal loan applications. Everything was wrong. When it came time to pay child support, he was broke. And we could show that. And so the way it worked in the courts at the time in Dallas, one of the judges had passed. And so everyone kind of took over that one judge's docket. So the judge that we were assigned to, if you didn't finish trial that day, well, then you just had to go the next day you had an opening, whether it's the morning or the afternoon. So you could, if you didn't finish on Monday, you may not get seen again for like a week, maybe the next day, maybe that Friday, just
Whatever they could.
So one of the issues was the drop-off point between visitation. So mom lived basically in like Tarrant County, which is a county west of Dallas. This guy moved into Rockwall County, which is kind of northeast of Dallas County, as far away as he possibly could on the lake, to where it was like one way is like an hour and a half, 2 hours of traffic.
Yeah.
To like where they were dropping the kid off. And so he, wanted that changed to more of a central location. And so we were contesting that, obviously, because he chose that residence. So the first day of trial, it was so bad that when his new wife was on the stand, which was also a CPA, it had gotten so bad that she figured out what was going on with his money, because we were questioning, what about this? Here's this. Is that reflected? Blah, blah, blah. So
Right.
she gave him the biggest go to hell look, like she because now her name's involved on the documents. And when we had him on the stand, it was so bad that we had backed him into such a corner. The judge had to stop everything, called us up to the bench, and basically told his lawyer, you need to take him into the jury room and advise him against his Fifth Amendment rights of self-incrimination, because these guys have him backed into such a corner. No matter what he says, he has to lie about it. Or if he tells the truth, then he'll lie about something else. So got back, and of course, everything after that was like, plead the fifth, plead the fifth, plead the fifth.
Right.
And it was to the point where when we're walking back to the table, my friend Brian, like, he picks up, like, he's doing this. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, this shit doesn't even happen in the movies, man. Like,
Oh my God.
so what do we do now? How do we do this? It's like, hey, man, I mean, you got more trial experience than I do. You tell me. So we got through that first day. I was living in an apartment, and I, because I wasn't getting paid hardly anything, I didn't have cable either. And so I had the local news on, and I was cleaning the kitchen, and it was on a Wednesday night, the Monday after the first day of trial. And they were doing a big news story on Ojeda's restaurant. Ojeda's restaurant in Dallas at the time was like a big, huge Mexican food restaurant in Dallas, where like when dignitaries came into Dallas, that's where they ate.
Okay.
Like Clinton was president, he would always stop there. Bush ate there. Our client's sister owned it.
Okay.
And so the sister is at her house is where they dropped the kid off, because it was like a neutral location, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, oh, somebody must be in town. Didn't think anything. I didn't have the sound on. The next morning, Brian is calling me. He's like, hey, man, you okay? It's like, yeah. It's like 7:30 in the morning. I'm just getting up, ready to go to the office. And I was like, dude, are you okay? Because like, he never called.
Right.
It's like, hey, everything's fine. Just kind of didn't really know what to say. He's like, well, have you heard the news? Like, no, what are you talking about? It's like, well, I can't really tell you if you haven't heard it. Just like, you need to get in the office. Like, was everything okay? He's like, yeah, I mean, everything's fine. And I could kind of hear
The not fineness.
the people in the background kind of, whispering. I was like, dude, tell me if I'm getting fired. Cause like, I can't afford gas. I can't afford it.
Mhm.
If I'm going to get fired, just like, tell me. It's like, no. It's nothing like that. And so get to the office and I walk into his office and there's like one of the partners there and a couple of Dallas PD officers. So then I immediately started thinking, what did I do?
Right. Oh crap.
Did I accidentally steal something? Did they actually, what happened? Well, the reason why Ohidius was on the news is because that Wednesday afternoon when they were supposed to drop the kid off, they didn't because we were in the middle of trial. My client's sister and her husband, and they lived in a very affluent neighborhood in Dallas. They were walking the dog. There was a gold Infiniti SUV, which stuck out, did not belong to the neighborhood. When they're walking their dog, eyewitnesses said as soon as they passed his car, there's someone on the phone. As soon as they passed, he hung up, pulled around 5 shots to the chest of the sister. And they were just telling us, like, look, you guys are involved in this lawsuit. We know that. We don't think you guys are, targets or of anything. But, just be aware of your surroundings until this kind of dies down.
How paranoid did that make you?
So I didn't take the same route home. I tried to stay on highways whenever I could. I didn't stay in my apartment for more than a couple of days at a time. I slept with the lights on. I always had I fell asleep with my cell phone in my hand. And then I, would just leave my apartment like early in the morning, just try to change it up as much as I could. And I was talking to Brian about it one day at lunch. It's like, dude, they don't even go after the lawyers in movies, man. Do we really have anything to worry about? It's like, well, dude, I mean, if the sponsor tell us, maybe. And so, and he was kind of playing a joke, but we're really kind of like, and it kind of pissed me off, but it was funny now.
Right, looking back at it.
Yeah, he's like, hey, man, go to my car. I need to go to the bathroom. We're at lunch. Go to my car, turn the ignition on. I'm like, come on, like, but turn the ignition on. If it turns, then like we're good. Like, man, fuck off. But he was laughing about it. But anyway, after about a month, they called us, or they came back into the office and they said, "Y'all are fine. Well, they're not targeting." But they, asked the mutual friend at Brian's birthday party a couple of years ago if they'd ever solved it. It's like, no, it's a cold case. They never solved it. So that was like the one thing. It's like family law. It's probably not something I want to do for the rest of my life. And sure enough,
that was the soured experience?
That kind of started it. But then I went and I worked at the White Shoe family law firm where, the, professional athletes and everything. There was one case, and this is kind of weird. Like, I was like, this is it. I can't do this shit anymore. It's not why I went to law school.
Right.
This is like complete bullshit. I got a call from the managing partner. Say, hey, look, Dave, you need all the associates need to be in the office at 7:00 in the morning. Me in the conference room, you need to talk about this one case. Like, that's a problem. Got there, a little bit early. I'm the only one in the conference room drinking coffee, just kind of looking around. Everyone kind of shuffles in. And we started talking about this one case. And basically, we needed to, actually, let me back up. It was on a Thursday night. And we had to be there on a Friday morning. I was thinking about another one. We had to be there on a Friday morning at 7 because Father's Day was Sunday. And we represented the mom. We had to figure out a way to keep the kid from being with the dad on Father's Day to leverage a solvent. And that was it. So because the dad was willing to forego visitation of the kid if he could keep the Aspen property. So it's like, these types of people. But in order to do that, we were trying to figure out a reason to really sell it to the judge or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really remember. I was halfway not paying attention. It's like in Anchorman when they're asked, "Hey, Ron, you're paying attention?" No, it's kind of like that. So I just remember all these other guys were trying to come up with reasons not to, to put in motion that we had to have heard that afternoon, like an emergency order hearing with a judge. Everyone's like, "No, I don't think that would work." Blah blah blah. It's like I remember. Just I'm sitting here today and had like my cup of coffee. It's like, I don't know, why don't we just allege that he does cocaine? And they all looked at me. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, he works at like, the big top 3, CPA firms. Like, I was like KPMG or something. Like he's in the C-suite. I mean, those guys. I mean, they're always cooked up. Said very cavalierly. Didn't think anything. I kept my head down because I was trying not to make eye contact with anybody because I did not want to be involved. And so, the room went silent for like 5 seconds and I kind of started feeling everyone's looking at me. So I look up. It's like, yeah, I think that's what we'll go with. So the way it worked is if you allege that someone is taking illicit drugs, everyone involved, both parents, have to submit to drug tests. And if you refuse, then it's a presumed positive. So I had to clear with our client. She was like, yeah, I would pass. I have nothing to worry about. So we did it. Got the motion drafted, got it in front of the judge signed off on it. I went home and I just sat in my apartment, silence. It's like, this is not what I went to law school.
Yeah.
So, like, I felt dirty.
Yeah.
And because come to find out that he was a good guy, just like, he was a good father otherwise. But it's like, man, I'm not making a difference in anybody.
Right. You're just
in anybody's life. So I gave my 2 weeks, like the next week, I think. And just like, I'm out. I can't do this. This is, I walked away from it and just came back to Houston.
well, in personal injury, luckily, the insurance agents always suck. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
not so much the adjusters, but the companies. So you don't have to feel like that per se.
I mean, I have enough, and Jeremy will be the first one to tell you, I have enough righteous indignation for the entire firm. So when it comes to insurance companies, adjusters, like if I hang up on them or, we get into a loud argument, dropping F-bombs and all that, I don't care. And I kind of hope the associates do the same.
Yeah.
And the staff does the same because they're just like, to me, this is the most necessary evil that we have in our society. So
super corrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah, these big insurance corporations are making tons of money, and there's people that they're supposed to be helping out, and you have to they don't necessarily care about them, and especially people that are genuinely injured, like they could have lifelong impacts from even just a small fender bender, you know, like it's good that you guys are there.
And like the one thing that really just drives me up a wall is Safe Farm, for example. I think it was like a few years ago, they came out with their financials and their profits were like 19 billion. And yet they're raising everybody's premiums every month. They're nickel and diamond settlements. They're forcing people to litigation. They're saying the reason why they're, having to cancel all these, the policies out in California for the wildfires because it's too expensive. But then the CEO got a bonus of like 40 million, whatever it was. It's just like, it's sickening. And I've got State Farm personally. And it's just sickening knowing that like I'm contributing to that.
Yeah.
Like I pay for that out of my own pocket. And these people are literally trying to rip you off. They're going to lie to you. They're going to try and tell you that you can't do certain things or you have to do certain things that are just going to save the company money in the long run. And it is just absolutely infuriating. And what really drives me up a wall is when you start calling them out on it and you tell this adjuster, like, I know for a fact that you guys are going to do this, you guys are going to do that, and this is the reason why. And they just like cannot believe. Like they do the whole pious attitude, like, oh no, it's not me. No, I don't have anything. It's like, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Motherfucker, you're under, like, you work for the company. I can tell you that, when you flip the page over to your training manual, it's going to literally tell you it's going to literally in black and white, you're going to be able to read exactly what I'm telling you, because that's what you guys are trained to say. And it's complete bullshit. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know, but like, I enjoyed that fight.
You're like, yes.
And Jeremy like really enjoys that fight too. So, I mean, I think that's why, we're successful in kind of what we do. That's why we get repeat customers. That's why we get, a lot of chiros like you guys. They're, refer the patients over, because we're going to not take, no for an answer, and, we'll fight it if we need to. So, yeah, like I was telling Jeremy yesterday, I'm about to file a lawsuit strictly out of spite. Like, this adjuster, like, cut me off, almost like hung up on me, and I had to call her back because I wasn't done trying to explain the case. And like, bad attitude, the offer was decent, but I told the adjusters, like, look, I mean, you think it's only worth this. I promise you, I filed a lawsuit today. I get your guys served tomorrow. You're going to get notice of it. You're going to have to go to your supervisor and say, why can you, I couldn't get this case settled. Like,
Right.
the litigation is going to ask you why. You're going to come up with some bullshit story to blame me. I was being unreasonable. I was asking for too much money, whatever you want. I really don't care what you tell your supervisor. But I'm going to tell you, when you get to switch over to litigation, that litigation adjuster is going to call me. They're going to ask me, why can you get it resolved without litigation? And I'm going to tell them it's because of your attitude and nothing else. And I filed it strictly out of spite. I'm going to name you, and I don't really care if it gets back to you, but I'll let you know that in litigation, even though you're offering this in less than a month, I'm going to get probably $10,000 more. And I'll be more than happy to show you the document, and I'll wager the difference with you. And sure enough, oh, well, I don't think that's going to happen. It's like, all right, that's fine. So I filed it before I left yesterday.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah. So I filed it before I left yesterday, and
We'll see.
yeah, I'll definitely let you know.
I love it.
Yeah. So the client was fine. I mean, I honestly got the clients okay to do that before.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, so that's just kind of like how we do things. I don't know. You ever watch Franklin and Bash?
Uh-uh.
Oh man.
I know. Messed up.
Yeah. We do things like that.
Well, we really appreciate you being on.
Oh yeah. Thanks for having me.
If people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way?
So my cell phone number is 713-962-8974. That's literally the easiest way to get in touch with me. Just text me. Every client's got my cell phone number. Don't be shy. Don't think it's in a position to use it. At Personal Injury Houston is our Instagram handle. Our office number is 281-858-3355. It's answered 24/7, but if you get in a wreck, slip and fall, anything legal related, personal injury, shoot me a text.
The 2%?
2%. Well, that's reserved.
I'm gonna pay it.
Yeah.
You've been listening to Houston Hustle, celebrating the entrepreneurs who are shaping our city. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone building their own dream. Until next time, keep building, keep learning, and keep hustling.